All right, another news. Monsoon session of Parliament has begun. The 32-day session is set to hold 21 sittings till 13th of August. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged lawmakers to ensure a productive monsoon session of Parliament. He hailed India's growing space ambitions, praising the success of a young Indian startup for opening a new chapter in the country's private space journey. He further said the achievement reflects the boundless potential of India's youth, noting that the average age of the team behind the mission is just 28. Now, the union government has placed 5 key bills on its legislative agenda, and among them is a bill to amend the Prevention of Insults to National Honor Act. And this proposed amendment will any obstruction or insult to the national song, Vande Mataram, a criminal offense. It has been listed in the agenda of the Rajya Sabha for Monday, with Home Minister Amit Shah set to introduce the bill. The Registration of Births and Deaths Amendment Bill aims to tighten rules governing delayed registrations, while the MSME Development Amendment Bill seeks to modernize the 2006 law, with a focus on improving the ease of doing business and addressing delayed payments to micro, small, and medium enterprises. Now, the government is also set to introduce amendments to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, seeking to revise the framework governing foreign funding, and notably, highly anticipated constitutional amendment bills, including women's reservation and delimitation, do not feature in the initial legislative list. Meanwhile, opposition has prepared a united response to challenge several government proposals, including any move to reintroduce the delimitation bill and the proposed changes to the FCRA, with major legislation on the table. All right, to give us more details on this, our Assistant Editor of Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sibul, is joining us live from New Delhi. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we know that a lot of bills are to be introduced, and we saw the Indian Prime Minister addressing media, calling for a peaceful, of course, meeting in these sessions. Tell us about the latest, and of course, what are we expecting from these very important sessions?
Well, the monsoon session of the Indian Parliament has opened, and earlier today we saw the address. This is a traditional address by the Indian Prime Minister, where he raised several issues, including, of course, the situation in West Asia, saying that it has impact on energy security, but expressed confidence that India's growth story remains intact. He, of course, lauded the launch of India's first private satellite Vikram 1 over the weekend as well, and lauded the youth behind it, saying that the average age of those working in Sky Route is approximately 28 years old, and essentially pointing out as to how the youth of the country can play an important role in terms of firming up India's future prospects in every sense possible, including the space domain. Now, the Parliament session opens with a lot of issues. The Indian government, of course, will be focusing on passage of key bills, including the Income Tax Amendment Bill. There will be, of course, focus also on the Supreme Court Judges Bill and the national the Vande Mataram, essentially, the insults should not happen. There is a bill that is being planned as well. But of course, for the opposition, there are other issues, including, of course, the big NEET issue, which is a big issue in the country as well. There will be other issues dominating the agenda. In terms of foreign policy, if we talk about, expect the MPs raising the issue when it comes to the situation in West Asia, and also killing of the several seafarers, Indian seafarers in West Asia over the past few months. We know that India has lost almost 14 Indian nationals in the conflict in West Asia. Many of them are seafarers. This is one of the biggest issues that India is concerned about, not only in terms of the energy security, but also the loss of the Indian seafarers.
Sure, Siddhan. Of course, these are very important issues to be discussed. When it comes to discussion, of course, the government is introducing bills. And of course, there's the opposition. Of course, they also talk about a lot of bills. And they have mentioned delimitation. They've mentioned, of course, the women's reservation. How are the opposition looking at this monsoon session? And what are we expecting, some reactions? What are these reactions we're expecting from them?
Well, as always, every parliament session is a stormy session, and this time also it is expected to be a stormy session, with the opposition aiming to corner the government on several issues. There is, of course, the delimitation issue as well. The government is keeping its cards closed so far. We know that over the weekend there was an all-party meeting as well. And also in terms of the government as well, it is also ready to essentially take on the opposition as well. Expect heated debate, something that has happened in the past as well. India primarily has 3 sessions of the parliament, the budget session, the monsoon session and the winter session. In fact, the monsoon session is also a significant one, even though the budget session is the longest session. But expect a lot of issues being raised by the opposition, something that is the talk of the country, whether it's the NEET issue or whether it is the issues which are dominating the headlines in India.
Absolutely, of course. Well, of course, it's a democracy, so we see both sides. Well, thank you so much, Siddhan, for coming to us and giving all the latest. Of course, we'll get back to you as and when we get more details.